Now, going over to the business blunder of the day, you have Fisker Ocean being recalled while the company is going through bankruptcy, which will be hurtful for all 13 of the people who bought them. I only partially jested. Interesting enough, I know one person who actually bought a Fisker Ocean, and I didn't make fun of him because he's a customer of mine. I should have. Into my head, as soon as he said it, I thought the company has a high propensity of going bankrupt. They've gone bankrupt before. Mr. Fisker, his first company, and there's a lot of competition. They're not really making the cars. It's an OEM, and they're not really selling with a lot of volume. I don't. What are you going to do when they go out of business? Obviously, I just thought that in my head. Now this comes to us thanks to Inside EVs, which is obviously one of the most. I mean, that's a pretty apt website in terms of exactly what they're going to be talking about. They say, quote, Fisker, amid bankruptcy, recalls every single car in the U.S. The recall includes a mandatory stop sale as the availability of parts and service is questionable as Fisker's future. I won't say it's ugly as sin, but it's also, granted, I mean, I would never buy it. Granted, it's also an EV with only 2 pedals, and me, I only buy things and 3 pedals, as with manual transmission, as all cars should be by default. But again, that's just me. This is according to an article by Rob Strumpf, and yep, it's not good. He says, quote, Fisker has issued and caused by a, wow, it's even worse. Fisker says the issue was caused by a dimensional variation in the door handle measurements. An out-of-spec door handle could experience additional friction and not exert enough retracting force. The automaker estimates that around 3% of the 8,204 Fisker Oceans produced and sold in the U.S. are affected. Wow. They say that, geez Louise, on certain vehicles, the outer door handles may stick, preventing customers from entering or exiting the vehicle. Following thorough investigations, Fisker Engineering has identified this as a potential safety concern. The issue is critical in scenarios where the vehicle cannot be exited, likely due to the malfunctioning door mechanisms. Which, again, is one of the downfalls of... it's one of those things where sometimes I feel like making things more complex is just a pain in the rear end and not really worth it. I understand it looks hip or cool, I guess, to have these little door handles that pop out. But the conservative design in me wonders why the hell do you change something that's been working for almost 100 years? And, well, granted, you could argue about the McLaren SL5, was it XL300? Not McLaren, geez Louise. Been a long day. Been a long day of having that kind of a brain fart. The Mercedes SL300, one of the most famous supercars ever, I believe. They have the little handles where they pop out, but that's not software, that's analog, it works. This, you have to deal with software and much tighter tolerances. And if you're looking at the picture, if you're not seeing the show today, it has very similar door handles to like the Tesla where they pop out. So you just can't go up and grab it. Now, they say that, quote, service technicians can use a special tool to test if the vehicle is affected, and if so, Fisker's technical service bulletin calls for any faulty door handle to be replaced. This is Fisker's second stop sale in under a month. Fisker recently recalled all Oceans due to a powertrain module that could erroneously enter a protection mode and cause a loss of power. The fix was simply a software update, which is much easier to implement than a hardware fix, especially given Fisker's current financial situation. Wow. So, not great news. And I have no idea who's going to be able to, if they'll even be able to afford to do these recalls. Again, they're going through bankruptcy. I don't know anyone who's going to really benefit from buying the remaining assets of the company. Because again, they're not manufacturing these. They're designing them, but they have a third party. I believe it's actually the same company that is putting together the Toyota Supra. I'll say in Austria. It loses me at the moment. I know it starts with an M. It's not Meckers, but nevertheless, they don't have that. What they really just have is a bunch of, I guess they have blueprints and maybe a couple good engineering ideas, and they have a couple of patents. But I'm very skeptical to actually see who's going to come out and try to buy the company, if anyone ever does. Again, this is the second time Mr. Fisker has gone bankrupt with his EV company. And again, it's a very tough industry, a lot of low margins, you're losing money for a long time. I mean, the odds of success in the EV world are very, very slim. I mean, so far Tesla's historically the most successful one to ever do it. But again, having a recall while you're going through bankruptcy just gives extra incentive for people to fire sale these and get rid of them. Not because how are you going to support this? Because again, it's a piece of technology. So who's going to do it? Just cybersecurity alone. Who's going to update this vehicle to make sure it's secured? Because again, malicious actors could potentially hijack your vehicle remotely and make it crash on you. And very similar to like Windows updates. I mean, they have people working 24 at Microsoft. They have people working 24/7 basically to work on patches and updates to make sure they're plugging all the holes. Because again, it's a game of cat and mouse with malicious actors for cybersecurity. And that's just one threat vector of long-term ownership for these vehicles. I mean, who's going to do these little updates? The remaining people who still have this car, can't help they think it's going to give them incentive to just try to sell to anyone for anything, just to get out of their lives. And certainly doesn't inspire confidence for long-term ownership or the brand of the company. I mean, it's one thing if you had a loyal base of customers, maybe eventually you can get profit out of a business model with them, but it's just having a recall during bankruptcy, I gotta say that's seemingly just adding insult to injury. And that recall with Fisker, I have to say that is certainly the business blunder of the day. Thank you everyone for taking the time to tune in. Again, trying to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month. So if you could click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment is a great way to give me some additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.